I believe you can have it all, and you don't have to struggle to get it. If life feels hard, your tasks seem impossible, or you just don't like the options laid out before you, I promise you there is a better way. My name is Melanie McSally, your Better Way architect, and I welcome you to the WyzeCast Show. Today's guest is Jason Robey, who has been a musician his entire life. And he is here to teach us about the power of music and how you might use it to find your better way. Well, Jason, thank you for being here. I am so excited to get to talk to you today.
Thanks for having me. Always happy to talk music, and I could go on for hours on anything music and play and yeah,
Awesome. So the modality you're bringing us today is music.
music. Yeah, music and all the things it can do for our bodies, our souls, our minds. It's it music really kind of defines my life. Everything I've been for the past. Not going to say how many years, but I live, breathe, eat, drink music. Um, Other everything else I do that's not music is somehow still connected, and uh, I can I can relate songs, things to every bit of my life. I could flip through I've got a massive CD collection that I flip through, and it's like a photo album for me. I can look, and like most of what's in there I could point at, while someone else would look at it and be like, oh, that's a good one. I like that one. I could tell you the what the weather was like the day I bought it. Every detail the first time I heard it, and I any chance I get to actually put some of that out into the open is always nice for me.
Awesome. All the young kids are going to be like, CD, what is that? But I'm with
Yeah.
you. Okay, so on this channel for my community, what we've been doing is we've been talking about modalities. And what I mean by that is basically just somebody's area of expertise. There's healing modalities, there's all sorts of like there's a whole bunch of them. A lot of them I don't even know what they are myself. And so I have this catchphrase of find your better way. And what I mean by that is like if things are hard, if you have a roadblock or you don't like your options, then there's got to be a way around that. There's got to be a way to have it all, right? And I believe that if you don't know the answer, then it exists in the realm of I don't know what I don't know. And so to help people learn more and close the gap of what they don't know, I'm inviting people on to share their expertise and talk to us about how we might use where you are an expert in to help us find that better way. Now, we know like music is something that people are familiar with. And I'm sure they have their own ways that they use music to bring whatever it is that need to bring into their life, like process emotions or or bring joy or whatever. But what are some other ways that one might use music to like find their path to freedom or joy or prosperity or whatever it is, you know?
Oh wow. Um, well, so I don't. Hopefully this answers your question. Because something popped in my head as you started talking about that I don't know, that maybe this doesn't answer what the final question ended up being, but when you were just talking about like finding a way around the obstacles, and uh, I at total random remembered being I guess about 14 or so, and my biggest struggle in school was always reading. Not reading as in like being able to read, and I mean I kind of enjoy that, but as far being able to sit down with a book, like when the teacher would say, read chapters 4 and 5 tonight, or um, I've always had a lot of trouble focusing on that and being able to sit down and read and follow along without getting distracted. I know it's probably a bit of an ADHD kind of thing, but like I would sit down and read a sentence or two, and then before I know it, my eyes are scanning everything. I'm seeing words, but I'm off doing all kinds of other things, and realize like I have no idea what I just read. And uh, I I started I started listening to music while I had to read, and I found I found that it helped a lot, and I found the type of music is everything for that, and I used that all through high school and college, and I found that if I had the right thing to listen to, I could I could pay attention to whatever else, like something generally. I mean, for me, something generally like mid tempo, rather instrumental. Not heavy on lyrical content that you find yourself listening to. But when I was in college, I got really into the Grateful Dead, and there's obviously a lot of instrumental to that. Um, I started really finding out just what that how that helped my brain just focus on whatever I was doing, and for other activities, other types of music would work better. I if I'm driving with I guess on a road trip driving, like long drive, I can keep myself awake. I can keep myself focused, paying attention. If I'm relaxing to the right thing, if I'm in a hurry, if I'm trying to get through a whole bunch of stuff really fast and like running behind on, throw something fast on, throw on like Metallica, a lot of stuff like that. Those things will help me get those help me focus on that kind of thing. And um, I kind of always thought it was just me too. And then I actually started talking to other people who relate and get the same thing. And I guess I um, have really opened my mind to anything that whether I feel like doing it or not, whether it's like obstacles or just something I don't feel like doing, or something that I really want to do, but need the right motivation. I found that if I pay attention to what I listen to, it it makes it possible. It gets me through anything. And that playing music is part of that too. I have annoyed countless people in classes, in office jobs where I can't not. If my hands are free, I'm doing something, and if I'm playing some kind of music that I might be playing a just a little drum beat on my my glass. If I'm I don't know, somewhere where got a drink in my hand, I'm playing something, and in my head there's a whole concert going on there. There's all the instruments are playing. I'm doing something that anybody else would just hear, just some tapping, and um, it's I definitely went on some tangent there, but
No, it's
um,
I can totally relate. I remember one time I was heading to a friend's house and I was in a foul mood. Like I don't know what happened, but I just was in a foul mood. And the friends that I was going to see, they're like the most joyful people in the world, and I love them dearly. And I remember heading, it's a 90-minute drive to their house. And I remember heading to their house being like, I do not want to bring my foul mood into their house. And so I put on some music and I had all the intentions of like just like getting myself into a better mood. I don't know. It was like whatever was on the radio. And it just wasn't working. It wasn't working. And I was like, what could I do? Like, what could I listen to? And I had this, I get intuitive downloads all the time. And I had this intuitive download that was like Irish sing songs. Just put on Irish sing songs. And so I put on, like, I did a search on Spotify for Irish sing song, like pub sing song. That's what they call karaoke there. And you could not be in a foul mood when listening to that. It's like the it's like leprechauns singing karaoke. It's just comical. You're laughing, you're singing. It was just like, watching all the people watch me being a silly person in a car. Yeah, I definitely it changed my mood. It got me what I needed. So, like I love what you're saying because not only can it help you process emotions, and I should correct what I said earlier of like not necessarily always going around. Sometimes you need to go through and so processing emotions, but also like changing your mood. Like I find that sometimes I'm just not resonant with music because I want to be in some sort of state and the music wants me to be in some other sort of state.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you mean. It's I mean, I can probably think of a million examples over the past several, uh, I don't know, I guess many years. I remember once I was like 18 or 19, and uh, I had I it was a bad day. I want to say I had a really bad day. I was very angry, and uh, I mean, yeah, I was just not in a great place at all. And I got in the car and I put on uh, I was at the time 311 was one of my favorite bands, still one of my favorites, but they have one song in particular that is if you're familiar with them, they're rock reggae, but they have one song that's really heavy. It's very punky. It's very gritty, and it's for the mood I was in. It fit so well that the me that was ready to just you know go off on anyone that got in my face. By the I mean 20-minute drive home, and by the time I got there, I just listened to this one song over and over, and sang along, yelled along with it. And by the time I got there, I was in a pretty good mood, and I felt really good at that point. And I think it was because I wasn't trying to listen to something that would bring me up. I was listening to something that like empathized with where I was, like where my brain was, and it felt like, okay, not alone, kind of like I know, some people, and everyone's got their own methods. Some people would listen to something happy and bright and uplifting if they're trying to get there. For me, it just took listening to something, putting a song on that was almost like someone sitting next to me, just listening to me vent. And by the time I was around other people, I, I I was looking at it going, yeah, I guess I can't even really complain much because it what happened was just annoying. It's not that bad. Like I'd feel stupid, telling somebody I've had the worst day now. Just it just worked. Other times, a lot of times I will, especially if I'm really tired, I'll get up and of course I want to put music on first thing in the morning, but I can't decide what I want to put on, and I'll realize that it's because I haven't found the thing that fits my mood yet, and I don't even know what my mood is. As soon as something pops in my head, like I'll realize that that's actually, it's not that I was in the mood to listen to this band, it's that it occurred to me that I could put this on, and I do, and then, this is the mood I'm in today, and it just feels. Um, if you ever catch me listening to um, something really long, slow, and heavy on the instruments, it probably means that I'm in a really relaxed, chilled out. I was listening to Pink Floyd's "Shine on You Crazy Diamond" once, and um, so someone else that could hear it was complaining that it was so long and slow, and I'm like, I know. It's because I feel good right now. I just feel like I'm just relaxed, and yeah. And putting that song on if I'm not feeling that way doesn't work for me. And so sometimes I just have, I'll put my, yes, I still use iTunes or well Apple Music, but not the not the streaming. I've got a massive library of music on a drive that if I haven't decided yet, I'll just start shuffle on the whole thing, and I'll just sit and skip until something comes on that this is it, and then I feel like I'm ready to start the day. I feel like I'm ready to whatever needs to get done that day. Whether it's sitting working on the computer or going outside and working in the yard or whatever it might be. That that just I don't know. It makes it possible. It just feels some songs feel sunny and some songs feel garagey. You know.
Yeah. What I love about this is that so a lot of times there's a lot of stigma around these sort of like low vibration emotions like anger and sadness and all the things. And so people are like, you got to get your anger in check and blah, 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 blah. And I don't think that. I think like anger is an emotion and it just needs to be processed. And so what I love about what you're sharing is like if you're feeling in an angry mood, go in your car and put on something that allows you to release, to be angry, to be in the moment. Not to drive in the car. uh, I don't want road rage happening.
Oh
So
yeah.
don't drive angry, but just like, go in your space, in your house, your whatever, put on some music that allows that to flow through you for you to have your moment, and for you to process it because there's something there for you. There's a reason you're angry. There's something inside you that's like crying out to be noticed, to be heard, and so maybe that will come to light if you listen to the right music. I love
Yeah.
the feature on Spotify that's like, we think you'll like this. It's like Discover Weekly or something.
Mm.
And I have to be careful with it because I often place, I know you are, I'm not a sound engineer, but because I'm a tech person, often I get asked to play a sound engineer and play DJ and stuff. And so then my Spotify has all this music for this event. And I have to be like, don't play, like, don't put this in my preferences. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I every well, it finally stopped happening this year, but for the last several my son's 13, and from the time he was like 8 or 9, he would use my Spotify and all the various robot machines whose name I can't speak or it'll start talking to us. Um,
Yep.
but then at the end of the year, I get my Spotify Wrapped and be like, "This year you listened to how many times did he listen to that song?" I'm like, that somehow the Gummy Bear song was like my number one listened to song a couple of years ago. I'm like, how is this possible? Yeah, so I know what you mean. Um, I had another thought, but I lost it. It'll come back though.
Well, we were talking about allowing yourself to process emotions, to listen to the
Oh
music.
yeah. Yeah, I mean when people say things like, keep the anger in check, that's kind of I mean, I guess that's kind of how I do it. Um, and whatever emotion it might be, if I'm another band that musically is one of my favorites because their songs are just really interesting, really layered. But this band called the Eels, actually, I think it's just Eels, but um, I as much as I love them, I actually can't listen to them very often, because their singer has had just tragedy after tragedy in his life, and it comes out in the music where I mean the album. every album of theirs is like mostly slow songs, or a lot of slow and really depressing songs, and I just can't listen to it when I'm not in that place. So I have to just put on my mix of their upbeat happy stuff most of the time, because it's not, I mean, it's not that I don't like it, it's not that it's not really good, it's just like if I'm not in that place, I can't listen to it. It just doesn't click. Um, but on the occasion that I actually am having like that, you know, sad, somber kind of day, it works. Um, Same thing with happy stuff. I mean, if I walk outside and it's, you know, the first spring sunny day of the year that we had, um, like a week ago, and then it got cold and rainy again. But I walked outside and I could just hear the music playing in my head that just fits what I'm like. Oh man, I mean, um, and I've got a whole playlist. If you look at my Spotify, it's a lot of playlists that are um, named after like moods or other, or named after events. Like I have one of college, but it's not songs that came out when I was in college or songs that were popular. It was songs that I listened to a lot, and the songs that we listened to in the dorms a lot. And um, I mean, the song comes on and it takes me right back there. And um, yep, rambling again.
Well, I remember doing a relay race, like running relay race, um in Boston. It was Reach the Beach, and we were running to the New Hampshire shoreline. And so because I was a runner, I got the longer, more challenging legs of the race. There's 10 people in your team, or maybe 12, and you hand off and you each run 3 legs. And so I got, my first leg was 11 miles, my second leg was 7 miles, and then my final leg was 3 miles. And I remember when I got to the 3 miler, I was toast by this point. And you know, my team is looking to me to like make magic happen. And I remember for that whole 3 miles, I just played a single song. It was it was it was oh, that pop song that's like fired up, or I don't know, something like that. It's like Unstoppable, but it's not that one. And I just listened to it on repeat, and I remember like feeling like a rock star, or like on top of the world. And it made me run my fastest 3 milers ever. And I literally just listened to the same song over and over again. But when we spoke last time and we were talking about like listening to what's in your mood and all the things, I was thinking about this, reflecting on it. I was thinking like, yeah, I used to have a playlist called Running, and I used to have to like change it out because what worked one day wouldn't work another. And you would think like, I just want to run, and so I'm going to listen to the same music. But it really, for me, was about like quieting the chatter and being focused. And every day that looked different for me.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we know like what music can do for us for like processing emotions and stuff. But the way we actually connected was because my private community was looking for a drum circle. And so, how can people use music in other ways? Like, why would somebody want to have a drum circle, for example?
Um, to me, uh, drum circles. I've been in many at a lot of different festivals I go to, and there's there's something about you're in a group of I mean, I've been in some pretty big ones with, you know, 30 or 40 other people, and everybody everybody is doing their part of this bigger thing. And you know, even if you're not even if you're not really musically inclined, if you can't do anything more than just, you know, one simple piece of it, this by itself is not, it's not fun to listen to, it's not interesting. But if it's part of this bigger thing where you've got some people that are doing one part, some people that are doing something else, and but all coming together into one, uh, like it's almost like a mini version of I mean, just society. Everybody's got their part in it, and if you look at just one part, it's not anything on its own. But if you take that away, there's something missing. And you notice when it isn't there anymore. And I don't know. There's something about you're keeping rhythm. Your brain is working and focusing on that at the same time as also taking in what's going on around you and what everybody else is doing. And um, the oftentimes in drum circles, I find that the mood and, you know, like the tempo, and the rhythms change naturally as people in it are are finding a um, new jam with what everyone else is doing, and then others start to take it on and change, and it's not just something that's it's not just like a drum solo. It's this thing that just feels like it's like living and breathing, moving. It's, starts off might start off well, it will generally start off slow and simple, and then as everyone joins in, and then a couple people get up and leave, and suddenly you kind of feel like it goes from this like, and suddenly it's more, kind of quiets down, and then at some point somebody will start ramping it up again, um, and it's also very much like a conversation to me, where everyone's kind of keeping the I don't know, the basic part, and then someone takes their turn at leading it, and um, yeah, it's just it's it's fun, it's energetic, and it can be to me therapeutic, in a lot of ways. You're whatever that emotion might be that you're feeling, you're you're putting it out there and you're playing for everybody else, and um, even even more so than if it's just like a musician on stage with everybody else watching. Like, everybody else is part of it, everybody else is joining, and sometimes it's some push and pull, like somebody else is like, yeah, let's try and do it this way, and um, it's something it'll never be the same twice, and that keeps it interesting and um, very fun.
Yeah. So I heard many things in there. I heard fun and engaging, but I also heard unity and we're one and team building, leadership training, skills building, all the things, making you feel like you're part of a jam session, even if you don't have any musical talent. So I heard all these like concepts in what you were saying. Um, and I love that. I loved like how you talked about like the richness of everybody involved, and then feeling the loss when people leave. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a negative loss, but just the sound quiets because there's less people playing. And just that realization of like how everybody matters, of like everybody that's in this session, as soon as one person leaves and you notice their absence, you notice how much they mattered. And what a great message for like this day and age, when it feels the opposite of unity, and it feels like there's a lot of disconnection and a lot of like we're different, and and that person is not like me, or I'm not like that person. So I love this because I'm all about compassion and love and energy and joy and all the things, and acceptance and inclusion, and so uh, all of that felt present in what you were describing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you found some words that were escaping me, but that's exactly how I guess exactly how I meant it, and how everything was running through my head.
Yeah. Um, so okay, so I like to watch American Idol. I know. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. And it's a guilty pleasure of mine because I really enjoy watching people make their dreams come true. And one of the things I love about American Idol is the fact that they go to all these remote places and look for the talent that wouldn't otherwise know that they have these opportunities available to them. And another thing I love about the show is that they tell people stories that are the contestants that are going on the show. And there are so many contestants that are going on the show that talk about using music to overcome something like dyslexia, or as you were talking about reading, I can so relate. My intuition is so loud that sometimes it will start talking to me and having a conversation with me as I'm trying to read. And I'll get down the page and I'll be like, I'm not paying attention anymore. you know? And so I just have to put it away and come back to it later. But yeah, they talk about anxiety issues and loneliness, of not being accepted. Maybe they're uh, um, in the closet, so to speak, and so they don't feel like they have a way to express themselves openly in their schools, and they use music for that. So yeah, so I love the fact that we're just bringing a new level of awareness about music and the way that people can use it. Um, how did you get into becoming a musician, and is there a way to tell it tell it to people in such a way that if they were looking to use music as their outlet or their way to move through something, maybe they can find that in your story? I don't want to
Hmm.
pigeonhole you though, so tell your story.
Well, um, well, let's see. I mean, I was when I was born. My dad was in radio, and he was very into music. Zero actual musical talent or ability at all, and I mean, when I say that, I feel like what people hear is he couldn't play an instrument. No, he. I mean, even just like when we'd be driving and I'd watch him trying to like tap along to the music we were listening to. No musical ability at all, but uh, he loved music. He grew up in the '60s with the Beatles, and was very much part of that era of him and his friends getting sent home from school for cutting their hair like them and that stuff. And from about the time I was, I don't know, 2 years old maybe, there started being music going on all around me. He was always listening to stuff in the house, and um, uh, as I guess started. I think the first album I remember having myself was it was either the California Raisins or the Chipmunks. I don't remember which one came first, but I had both of them, and I remember getting really connected to them, to the songs. I mean, to this day, there's a couple of songs that I still prefer the Chipmunks version of because I didn't like the song, but hearing that still kind of takes me back. But anyway, by the time I was let's see, when I was 7, my mom got me my first acoustic guitar and um, took lessons for really just a few. I liked playing around with it. I liked making sound with it. I wanted to get into band when I was in elementary school, and there's no room for guitar there, so I didn't go very far at that time with learning it. I liked playing with it. It wasn't until I was about 13 that I really started um, to really learn how to play guitar and uh, gave up on the school band kind of stuff because I really wanted something that was more, I don't know, expressive, original. Um, to me, playing the notes on the page never really did much for me. I mean, looking back, I mean, I learned a lot, and now I can read music because of some of that. But when I started really playing guitar seriously when I was about 13, it was uh, it was it was where I fit in. Um, I like every kid, I was those awkward ages. Everybody finds their place, their thing that kind of gets them through it, and you know, for some it's sports. That was my thing, and I was known for it. Everybody around me knew that I was a musician, knew that I played guitar, and um, when I was in high school, I often took it to school with me, so I could. I always got to school really early because I took a city bus to get there, and was stuck there for quite a while after school for the same reason. So I'd take guitar so I'd have something to do before and after school, and um, I don't know, the way people I was such a shy kid that the way people responded to the music, it kind of made me feel like I had, like, I don't know, just a place, something to do, and at the same time the music started to really speak to me, and in the same ways that I've already talked about here, where it just it spoke to me more than anything else ever really had. And um, I mean, I was like 12 when I had a paper route, and uh, I could not have ever done it without the Walkman. Um, for those younger listening to this, a Walkman, before we had phones and iPods or any of that stuff, we had these gigantic things that you put a tape in. And yeah, anyway,
What's that?
I actually remember once I was because of like the layout of my neighborhood is a lot of hills and a whole lot of like oddly shaped it wasn't just simple blocks. So my mom would get up in the morning and take me to where they dropped the newspapers off, and we'd pick them up, and she'd drive me from like one street to another. And I remember once 6 in the morning, and I was delivering papers with the Walkman on, and when I caught back up to my mom at the next stop, she said, we can all hear you singing, right? Nope. Just I think that was when I learned that if I have headphones on, nobody else can hear that part.
Yeah.
Um, and I had another thought and I totally lost it. Um, but and then just as I got older, some people kind of toss out the music that they used to listen to. I have never done that. Um, some things to me are more nostalgic, I guess. Like, the stuff I grew up on in the late '80s. I don't get excited about like Poison or Rat or anything anymore, but I listened to them back then. So if it comes on now, I still get kind of excited just about like, oh, I just love this. I still do. Um, so it's been it's an experience to me, like collecting these experiences and like I said, going through my CD books and like the photo album, I'll go through and I'll remember like, oh, that one, yeah, I remember when I got that. I remember listening to this while I was doing this um, anyway, when I was in a band in high school, and then we stopped playing together like a year after high school, and I didn't really know where I wanted to what I wanted to do with that, like how I was gonna, I don't know, fit into the world anymore, and um, found out about this restaurant that near me that had musicians pretty much every night of the week, and I never would have done this if my friends hadn't practically dared me to do it. I think we all went there for dinner. Me and some friends went there for dinner one night, and they had someone playing, and my friend said to me like, you could do this, right? I guess I had never sang in front of people before, minus the early morning paper deliveries. Um, I just knew how to play. But I sang in my bedroom when no one could hear me, so I thought, okay, sure. Um, and uh, they just kind of like pushed me into talking to the people that worked there and seeing what it would take to get in and play. And they said, we do an open mic on these nights. Come in and play some stuff, and I did. And then they hired me to start playing there on the regular rotation, and I didn't. I had no idea that was. I mean, didn't see it coming. But and ever since then, I've been doing that kind of thing, playing anywhere I can, anytime I can. I've played lots and lots of stuff solo like that, singing and playing guitar. I've been in a few bands. Uh, I think part of what's kept me from ever really um, going long term with any band is that I have such a wide variety of what I like to play, what I like to listen to, and it all comes back to that whatever I'm in the mood for thing. One day I feel like I'll listen to some jazz and be like, I could do this. This would be fun. I would love to be in a jazz band. And then I'll listen to some metal. I'm like, oh, I love playing hard riffs, and then I'll put the Dead back on and like, oh god, I want to be in a jam band. I there's so many different things, and I've even said this a couple times, to people here in my house, and said like, I really want to get back into a band this year, but I don't know if I want to be in a jam band or like a Green Day cover band, or I mean, I could do so many things with it. Uh, but then, yeah, definitely rambling now. Back on track. I after college, I got my bachelor's in PR, um, and didn't really know what I wanted to do with it, and then almost like a sign from what when you're watching a show or a movie or something, and someone's like, what am I? And then like something glowing happens right in front of them, like, there it is. I After college I moved to Phoenix, and right before I moved there, somebody had told me about this recording school that existed there, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool, and didn't think again about it until I'd lived there for about a week, and I think I just left my apartment to go get some breakfast, and as if as if I even had any idea where the school was. I passed by it. It was less than 2 miles from my house, and or my apartment, and I passed by it. I'm like, that's that place that someone told me about. That actually would be kind of interesting. And then soon after that, I saw that school on the news. They were talking about what it was, and it had never even occurred to me at that point that that was a thing you could do, like that was a job or anything. Recording other people playing. I don't know how it had never occurred to me that there was people that did that. Um, but I made that the goal to get to that school. And it took me a couple of years to get the money together for it. But then I went there, um, uh, absolutely loved it, every minute of it, and things that I could never have, things that in high school and in college didn't work in my brain did all of a sudden, like math concepts and science things that had never really made sense to me at all. As soon as it was related to music and sound, all of a sudden, like, oh, well, duh, of course. And spent a little time working in a studio, and then went back to that school to work. Ended up teaching there for about 8 years, and it was more of the same. Like through classes I was teaching, I was understanding things that, I mean, one of my least favorite subjects had always been history. Hated history because I just couldn't keep track of it. But then when I started teaching one of my classes, I had to learn a little history and background in music, and all of a sudden things in like American and world history started popping up in things, and like, oh, if someone had taught it to me like this, I totally would have understood. I was learning a lot about like jazz and blues from the early 1900s, and all these things suddenly just made sense. And after I stopped teaching, kind of looking for my next thing to do, there weren't really an awful lot of jobs in Phoenix in recording, and answered an ad from someone that was looking for someone that could do concert reviews for a magazine, and like, I went to school for journalism, I could do that. Um, and at the time when I said, yeah, I would love to do this, and they also asked for some pictures. I sent a couple of pictures that I had taken with my phone at shows that I just happened to be, front row, and they looked really cool with the lighting. And uh, before I knew it, I had become a concert photographer, and I've been doing that for 10 years now, and uh, absolutely love it. And um, it that actually helps me. I've loved live music since I was first concert when I was 12, and now when I'm at shows, shooting and doing write ups and everything, but I'm at the show taking pictures, and to some people it's like takes you out of it. To me, it puts me more in it. I feel like I'm looking for I'm looking for the emotion on the singer's face, and I'm looking for um, the the I'm watching the drummer and watching his rhythm, and I'm paying attention to the rhythm so that I can snap a shot at exactly the right time, like right as he's about to hit the drum, and actually tapping rhythm out on the shutter to get the right shot. And just one more thing that I guess that just solidifies music as its way to my entire the inside of my entire brain. I just talked for a whole lot.
No, no, it's great because I think your story is so relatable in that there's there's a lot of there's a lot of creativity and not a straight line, but also it just shows to people that you can, in fact, figure it out as you go, and life will just work out the way it's meant to work out. And also, there's also a lot of freedom in the path you chose and took, in that there's a lot of people in this world who, their parents are like, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a lawyer, you got to be an engineer, you got to be a whatever, you got to be something, fill in the blank. And they're just not feeling that, and they're feeling like they should or they have. And so I love what you're sharing, because it shows like success is made. You can be successful in whatever you choose, um and life will work out, obviously you need to make your own dreams come true, but what I'm saying is, when you're aligned, it all just comes together, you know
Hmm.
so I love that. um do you want to share any music with us?
Um, I always do. Uh, I don't even know where to. I don't even know where to start though. Um, hmm.
You know what I love? We were talking the other day about how you can make music out of anything, and that you have a collection that's like Indian spices.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, I would just like the listeners to know um that possibilities are endless. That's my message.
Well, that's true. Yeah. That was a time that uh, sound everywhere it is musical to me, and actually, I think my idea came from a quote that um, I had read an interview back in the early '90s with Rob Zombie, and I did not expect to get like some kind of inspirational thing out of this, but he said, and his I think his meaning with what he said was very different than how I took it. But he said something like, "Yeah, anything can sound musical if it's definitely paraphrasing, but anything can sound musical if it's in the right place." And if I remember right, I think in his um, context, he was talking about like um, take 5 notes and make a chord out of it, and it doesn't matter how bad it sounds, it can fit somewhere. And I think that's true too. But how I took it was everything around us and anything near me, anything can be musical. Drums don't have to be your standard drum kit. They can be. I mean, you've seen guys that sit on the sidewalk with like a bucket and a couple of drumsticks, and um, uh, I've actually there's a guy that does that right outside of a venue near me in Charlotte, where I come out of shows all the time, and this guy's just sitting on the street corner playing, and really really well, like to the point I'm sitting there listening going like, man, I thought the concert was over, but this is I mean, this guy's great, and getting a couple bucks in tips, but it's someone that just kind of found found that way that you don't need to go out and spend a whole bunch of money on a drum kit if you just have the idea in your head, and uh, anything around you. So the what you're talking about from that conversation for everyone else, I had this idea totally out of the blue one day. I had a little field recorder that it's really high quality. It records really well, and um, I thought I'm gonna go in my kitchen and see what could be musical. And before I knew it, and the thing's got a little metronome in it. Um, so before I knew it, I had just recorded uh, little 4 or 8 bar loops of every spice in my cabinet, cans in the pantry, everything I could find and labeled them all like, Italian herb spice. And um, one was uh, was it coconut milk, a can of coconut milk. And so I had a whole folder on my hard drive of all these little just simple loops like with um, a jar of spice, stuff like that. And I was pulling something up in one of my classes one day on the screen, and when that folder showed up on my hard drive or my desktop, someone asked what it was because it had all these weird names in it, and I said, "Oh, you guys are gonna love this." And I went through them, and a lot of them actually sounded really cool. And uh, that's part of what I found to be really interesting in the world of recording music is how often things like that have actually shown up on songs and albums that we all know, and then you find out that the shaker they used was a salt shaker from the studio kitchen. And I love things like that.
Cool.
I picked up the guitar, but still hadn't gotten as far as what I was gonna do with it.
Isn't that what life is?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, my um, my son, when he was born, um, I would like sing to him at night to put him to sleep. And a couple times, just for the fun of it, I would um, I would write out the set list of so it would look like it was on a stage of like oh yeah, and for an encore tonight we did. Um, and he actually got pretty into music at a pretty young age, just like I did. He doesn't play anything or do anything with it really, but he loves it, and he listens to a lot of stuff that I grew up on, which I absolutely love. The kid was born in 2012, and some of his favorite stuff is Green Day and Nirvana and all the things that I listened to in high school. And um, yeah, every we get in the car and he asked me if I could put on Nirvana's the current. Uh, I want to say favorite, probably is a favorite, and I would play for him in my home studio when he was just like crawling around on the floor. And I had one song that I had written that was not about him, but kind of inspired by him, and I recorded it with a full band setup, all me, but like recorded the drums and vocals and guitars, bass, and everything. And uh, I've got video of him like jumping around to it and asked me to play it again and again. And I love that.
Yeah. Your this whole conversation is like memory lane for me because um I also grew up with 80s music and feel like there's nothing today that compares to it. And in fact, I was just having this conversation with my mom. But I can remember like when certain 80s songs come on, I can remember key moments of my childhood, like, you know, we used to have, like basement makeout parties as teenagers. I can remember like what Poison song I was dancing to, and White Snake and Guns N' Roses and Bon Jovi and all the things. And yeah. And you're also taking me down memory lane because of the tapes and the CD players and all the things. And I keep thinking about how today's kids are missing out because we had like our lifespan has encompassed so many inventions and I saw on Facebook, I don't know when, like a year or so ago, some post that was like, I'm turning 50 and this is what I've lived through. And it was like all the different things that have come to be like, like we didn't have cell phones when we were kids. Like they didn't exist back then. And computers didn't even exist back then, not personal ones anyway. And so I think about that, and I think about like your story about history. And I remember one day watching, I don't know, one of the popular shows that's on now, like it was like Bridgerton or something along those lines. And thinking to myself, I have learned more about history from these shows than I ever did in school, because they actually make it interesting, you know? And yeah, so anyway, I just so enjoyed this conversation, because it's like taking me down memory lane, and I'm remembering like the first boyfriend I ever had, and whatever, all the things.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. I also feel like as a kid growing up in the 80s, I had a pretty good vocabulary that I think came from the cartoons I watched. Because I still use words and like I learned that from an episode of Transformers, you know. But that's totally beside the point. But yeah, um, nope, lost my thought again.
Figure out what you want to play yet.
Uh, I
You
don't
don't
know.
have
I
to
mean,
play either.
oh, I could sit and play for forever. I just um I mean I could play a song if you have time. Um, I'm gonna play the song that I just mentioned that I um, uh,
Wrote for your son.
yeah, it wasn't for him, it wasn't about him, but he definitely inspired it, and it was really just the whole idea of just being a kid and um, yeah. Let's see, yeah,
I was kind of hoping you would play that.
yeah. Move down a little bit so you can actually see the. Hear that? Okay. Totally messed it up. Hopefully you can edit, because I also just realized that I'm a little out of tune.
I don't think I will. I think this is just as important.
All right.
Who cares?
I was 8 years old when robots ruled the world. Scene cutscene, the hero saves a girl, and I see the world in colors, the same in my head. Stuff straight into the stars, 4 feet to the farthest side of Mars, and I see the world in colors aren't the same outside my head. To China just because I can. or forfeit all the land. And I see the world in colors, aren't the same inside my head. Could do anything. I was 8. I was 12 years old when robots went extinct. Bagged and boxed, don't even think I blinked. And I see the world in black and white, not the same. And I said,
I
it's
can see why your kid was jumping around. That's a fun.
yeah, it's been a few years since I've played that, so I apparently forgot some words. But yeah, it's and just doing that, like the whole time I was actually picturing my studio, my old house, where I was doing that, and he was like jumping around. I can like remember what he was wearing and everything, and um, he just called it the robot song. He was like 3. He called it the Wobot song. Um, and yeah, he was 6 months old when I started taking it. So in Phoenix, we had, I mean, they still do. I just don't live there anymore. But we had the Musical Instrument Museum, which, if you ever get the chance, it is the coolest place on earth. Their goal is to have like one of every instrument in the world, and I don't think you could ever have everything, but they're really trying. Like it's really cool. But they started doing these mini music makers programs, starting at 6 months old. So from the time he was 6 months until I think it was until he started preschool, I took him to that every week, and it would be uh, a lot, actually, in ways like a drum circle. Like they pull out various instruments, things that kids can beat on, and different shakers and things like that, and oh yeah, bongos, all kinds of drums, and then play a song on the um, yeah, it was a tape player. They had a tape player with like a boombox, and teaching kids rhythm and being part of that. It hadn't really occurred to me, but yeah, it really was like a drum circle, and yeah, those were really fun. And then yeah, we go back home, and I have all my he knew words at 3 years old that I didn't know until I was in like my 30s, like theremin and djembe and all these things that he would ask for by name because he wanted to play them. And um, yeah.
So for the kids out there, a boombox was right, right on your shoulder, and it would take these huge D batteries and like 12 of them to to power it up. And
Yeah.
and the break dancers used to bring these big boom boxes out and hide, and
Yep.
they would break dance outside. Yeah.
I remember that from I grew up on the East Coast. I mean, I live there now again, but going to the beach, and there'd always be yeah, big breakdance group, and yeah, stuff like that was really fun. And you mentioned when you mentioned things like the uh, the old days. Uh, I remember um, recently my son was taking a flight somewhere, and he was talking about like I hope I wanting to have enough like chargers to keep his phone going. I'm like, kid, you've got earbuds and a phone full of music. I used to fly cross country from the time I was 14 until into my 20s, I was flying several times a year cross country, and um, I had to take a Walkman, a bag of tapes, and a couple of sets of actual batteries for every trip. I mean, I like my backpack just stuffed full of tapes, because if I wanted the ability to listen to more than 45 minutes of music, um, and yeah, and now you got it all in your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. And you remember when the machines used to eat your tapes and then you had to like roll them back in with a pencil?
Yep. And I also, since you mentioned that, because yeah, I did that a million times, but I also, at one point, I don't know how I got interested in this and how it even occurred to me, but I started having fun. Uh, 13, probably 13 years old. I started having fun with cassettes, um, taking them out and cutting pieces of tape, taping them together, and then putting them in another tape case and playing them just to hear the crazy, like a little bit of this song, and then it cuts into. And I actually started playing around with what I later learned was actually a thing in studios. But I started trying to cut things on an actual rhythm, and it's not easy when you have no ability to see on the tape what's where. But I had a lot of fun doing random stuff like that.
Yeah. We can't even like relate it because anything we would relate it to, the kids will have never heard of, like a typewriter, any of the things. But it would be like taking a piece of ribbon and like trying to cut it, thinking about where the music starts and stops on that piece of on that piece of ribbon. Like that.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so essentially you invented splicing before
I
it was
thought
a
I did.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it had existed, for a long time, but I had no idea that it was a thing. I just wondered what would happen, and turned out it worked.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been such a delight. How can people contact you if they want to work with you or any of the things? Just get in touch with
Uh, I would
you.
say so. My social media presence mostly has to do with photography, but it's still always a good way if you wanted to talk anything music. Uh, Audio engineering. If you are in need of a photographer, audio engineer, uh, do video, anything like that. Um, my LLC is Wicked Garden Media. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. I have a website that I'm in the middle of uh, revamping right now. It's just wickedgarden.media. Um, so yeah, that would be and search it and find me pretty easy.
So you are from the 80s, wicked cool, wicked guard.
Uh, so it actually came from when I first started uh, doing things that I felt needed a business name. I didn't know where to start, what I wanted to do with it, and someone said, "Well, take a song that you really like," and "Wicked Garden" by Stone Temple Pilots, was one of my other favorites, happened to come up, and in fact, it's my mouse pad
Oh, nice.
uh, with a water drop picture I took. Um, so that would be where you would find me.
Cool. And we'll put that information in the description. So you mentioned sound engineering, and photography, and are there any other modalities that you're in that you want to mention? Because, people can like, comment, share, whatever. And then if we have enough interest, we'll have you back talk about photography or sound engineering or whatever it is they want to know about.
Audio video photography, and yeah, recording and editing, both audio and video, and those are my main things. And I really I get into anything creative I can. Lately, I've been getting I'm into wood burning, 3D printing, like actually designing stuff and all that. But I would still say the main things are definitely the big three: audio, video, photography,
Cool, cool. Yeah.
and of course playing music and being a musician. But at the moment, um, I do have a bunch of music out, including the song I played a minute ago, on Bandcamp, and some of it is on Spotify. There's going to be more soon, but the the band, the one man band name, this is a tougher one to remember, but it's Mr. Doe's Euphoric Personality.
Well, we
Um,
can put that in the description so nobody has
yeah,
to remember.
that's Doe as in like a John Doe, so it's Doe apostrophe S. But um, that came from a night I was at a concert in a basement club in Salt Lake City when I lived there, and I was between bands. I was sitting in the corner writing some song ideas I had down, and just kind of looking around, and there's graffiti on the wall, and I saw like a few different things, and one of them said like somebody had spray painted "That's Mr. Doe to you," and somebody else had scratched Euphoria next to it or near it, and I don't know, kind of put all these things together that were around me, and that was in like 1995, and it's just stuck forever. I've tried to go with other names too, and uh, that's the only one that's ever stuck for me.
Go with it then. Awesome. Well, it's been such a delight to talk to you and to hear your story and to yeah, to learn about music even more and all the ways that we can use it to bring more joy and whatever, actually, whatever the emotions are, just all the things, to use it for all the things.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been great getting to say some of the things out loud that are in my head all day long. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Do you have any last words that you want to leave people
Probably,
with?
but I don't know. Just if you have any kind of music in your head, go play it. Um, doesn't matter if anyone can hear it or not. Play it. It'll make you feel good. It'll make you happy just to get it out there.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I like to tell people, and I've said it in every video, I'm going to say it again here. Technology likes love too. So if any of this has resonated with you, please like, share, comment, hype, do all the things, any of the things. Feed the love into the technology so that it will then pay that forward and share this video with anybody and everybody that needs to see it, to feel it, to experience it. So please do that. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jason, for being here. And remember, if life feels hard, your tasks seem impossible, or you just don't like the options laid out before you, there is always a better way. My name is Melanie McSally, and I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you for sticking around to the end. I want to share something special with you. Every couple of weeks, I bring the Wyze community together for an experience. Many of the guests that you've listened to here on this show become my special Wyze guest guide, where they take us on a customized journey featuring their gifts and aligned with the theme of the Wyze experience. This year, in the Universal 1 year, 2006, we are planting the seeds of abundance and flowing with the duality between planning and living. Throughout the quarters, we follow the seasons of a garden, starting with winter, reflect, rejuvenate, and replenish, and closing the year out with fall, harvest, celebrate, and retune. These experiences were designed with compassion, joy, and abundance in mind. They are a mixture of reflection, connection, release, upliftment, and growth. They are open to all heart-centered souls at no cost. Near the end of each gathering, I invite participants to offer a suggested contribution of $8.88 US dollars, a number that aligns with abundance, prosperity, and infinite flow. You're welcome to give in accordance with the value you received and your means. All contributions go directly to the Wyze guide of that experience. You can learn more and apply to attend at stepinto.wyze.community/belong. The link is also in the description. And if you're interested in attracting more abundance, I've created the Year of Abundance program. When you join the Year of Abundance, you receive access to 2 live Wyze experiences each month of 2026. All replays of every gathering so you never miss a moment. Weekly integration prompts to support your growth. Access to the private program space on our online Wyze community platform for connection and discussion. Contributions to all Wyze experience guest guides are included, past and present, plus a special physical gift mailed to your home. You can join at any time for a single payment of $288.82, that's US dollars. When you do, you'll receive access to all recordings for the year of 2026. And your contributions will flow to the Wyze guides who have already shared their wisdom, all in alignment with the natural flow of abundance. You can learn more and join stepinto.wyze.community/abundance. The link will also be in the description. Remember, joining the Abundance program is never a requirement for attending any live experience. Everyone is welcome. There is always a better way, and I'd love to support you in finding yours.